Sidney Colson tore his left ACL. Whoa. Additionally, Arie McDonald's right foot and bone were broken. It didn't appear to be an ACL tear, according to Sid Colson. Will both miss the remainder of the season. Arie McDonald and guard Sidney Colson will both miss the rest of the 2024-25 season, the Indiana Fever announced today. Arie is hurt, damn it. There is no point guard on our team. It's now or never for the Fever, but Sid Colson is most likely done for the season. Chloe Beebe is no longer necessary for them. For example, they are more in need of a point guard than a stretch four. Okay, so this is breaking news so the Indiana Fever have 2 point guards. Both Sidney Colson left ACL tear, Arie McDonald, broken bone and right foot, both will miss the remainder of the season. Arie McDonald and Sid Colson are both finished for the year. All of the Fever's point guards are injured. Arie is in pain. We don't have a point guide. It's likely that Sid Colson is finished for the season. Sidney Colson tore his left ACL. Whoa. Additionally, Arie McDonald's right foot and bone were broken. The Indiana Fever have confirmed that guards Arie McDonald and Sidney Colson will both miss the rest of the 2024 campaign. It's likely that Sid Colson is finished for the season. Aries was hurt. There is no point guard on our team. Will they both be out for the rest of the season? Guards Sidney Colson and Arie McDonald will both miss the rest of the 2024-25 season, the Indiana Fever announced today. For the Fever, it's either now or never. More than anything else, they require a point guard. Breaking news. The Indiana Fever have lost both of their point guards for the season. It was revealed that 2 point guards for the Indiana Fever, Sidney Colson, and the other player, Arie, is in pain. There is no point guard on our team. It's now or never for the Fever, but Sid Colson is most likely done for the season. Chloe Beebe is no longer necessary for them. For example, they are more in need of a point guard than a stretch four. Arie McDonald shattered a bone in her right foot, while Sidney Colson tore her left ACL. Due to injuries sustained during the game in Phoenix, both are officially sidelined for the rest of the season. This is a huge setback for the Indiana Fever because McDonald had been a vital member of the backcourt rotation, and Colson was replacing another injured starting point guard. The team's chances of making the playoffs are severely damaged when 2 capable players in the same position leave. Sidney Colson tore his left ACL. Whoa. This might have been it, given her age. Additionally, Arie McDonald will miss the rest of the season due to injuries sustained during our game in Phoenix on Thursday, including a broken bone and a right foot. Fans are already debating how the Fever will respond to this, with some recommending hiring a new guard, despite the pay ceiling restrictions. Fever supporters were shocked to learn of the injuries just minutes ago. The focus now shifts to whether Caitlin Clark will need to make an early comeback in order to save the season. Sign a guard or something. Okay, there are currently ramifications for the salary cap as well. I even heard someone mention that in order to sign a point guard, we could need to waive Chloe Beebe. A lot of reaction then. Sidney and Arie McDonald have my deepest sympathies. But don't hurry Caitlin Clark back. It will be necessary for her to play. I'm not sure what else they do, really. The Fever currently without their point guards due to the injuries to Sid Colson and Arie McDonald. Given her advanced age, Colson's injury might spell the end of her professional career, but McDonald's foot injury is severe enough to keep her out for the remainder of the season. Due to the lack of true ball handlers, Indiana is forced to start the offense with unconventional choices like Kelsey Mitchell or even Aaliyah Boston. It didn't appear to be an ACL tear, according to Sid Colson. When it occurred, it did not appear to be an ACL tear. I was persuaded. I thought that Sid Colson might not be a professional basketball player. Once more, it's not good. Arie seemed to be limping around. She gave it a little play. All of the Fever's point guards are injured. Sophie Cunningham can create plays, or Kelsey Mitchell can dribble. Boston Aaliyah will play point guard. The truth is bleak. The coach's hesitation to use some bench players exacerbates the roster's sudden thinness. Analysts and fans alike concur that this could ruin any hopes of making the playoffs, unless something radical is done. It is now believed that Caitlin Clark's return was not only beneficial, but also essential. There is no way for the Indiana Fever to spend the remainder of the year with over 10 players. They have 2 guaranteed contracts for rest injuries per season. For the remainder, they are not permitted to go out with more than 10 players. The coach dislikes playing 2 players against 3 others, which is another issue. They go 70 despite Caitlin Clark's health. Even without Caitlin, they go 70. For example, when Caitlin is healthy, They no longer have the hardship player. There is not enough depth on this team, like more than ever before. They need to come up with a plan. According to the Indiana Fever's own statement, Aari McDonald and Sydney Colson will both miss the rest of the 2024 campaign. McDonald broke a bone in her right foot in the fourth quarter of the same game, while Colson tore the ACL in her left knee during the first quarter. Updates on Sid Colson and Aari McDonald are provided by the Indiana Fever. Today, the Indiana Fever declared that guards Aari McDonald and Cindy Colson would both miss the rest of the 2024-25 campaign. Oh no, dog, they're done for the season. The rest of 2024 following injuries sustained during last night's team game. During the first quarter of the game, Aari McDonald suffered a torn ACL, and Colson tore the inside vital ligament ACL all the way into her left knee. During the fourth quarter, she suffered a knee bone in her right foot. Guys, my goodness. Following a similar problem earlier in the season when many guards were sidelined, the injuries have left the Fever in a familiar and concerning predicament at point guard. This couldn't have happened at a worse moment as the playoffs draw near. This is not good. We now need to determine who is available at point guard once more. We have to experience this once more. This looks a lot like June, don't you think? The tile. Squad will need to look into hardship signings or other roster adjustments to replace these two players. The space. While all of this is going on, Caitlin Clark is still absent, which fuels rumors that she will return sooner rather than later. Now Caitlin needs to go back. They have been waiting since the middle of August, which is now. Indeed, if they were aiming for the 12th, you would be looking at 3 days earlier. Sid Colson is most likely finished. Indiana doesn't have a point guard on the roster because Aari McDonald is also sidelined for the season. Despite her skill as a scorer, Sophie Cunningham is not a born playmaker. Additionally, the other guards on the team are either ineffective or incompetent at leading the offense. Aari is in pain. There isn't a point guard. It's likely that Sid Colson is finished for the season. Sid Colson tore either her meniscus or her MCL. She is in pain. There is no point guard on our team. There is no point guard on our team. A point guard is not Sophie Cunningham. Sophie was outstanding today, but we had a glimpse of her when she attempted to play point guard. The Fever are thinking of waiving Chloe Beebe to clear a roster spot so they can sign a point guard on a hardship contract because they don't have a real floor general available. The fact that this choice might be made as early as tomorrow emphasizes how urgent the situation is. In the meantime, although Caitlin Clark is still out, there is increasing pressure on her to return sooner rather than later because of the team's current dilemma. A week was too long for us to wait. Sewin just was signed by this person. The best of signed Carly Sampson, who was injured. I even heard someone mention that in order to sign a point guard, we could need to waive Chloe Beebe. A lot of reaction then. Sydney and Aari McDonald have my deepest sympathies. But don't hurry Caitlin Clark back. She will have to participate. I'm not sure what else they do, really. The Fever's roster math has become a nightmare due to the injuries to Sydney Colson and Aari McDonald. Indiana is eligible for a hardship berth if AR is confirmed out. However, every action becomes crucial when there are only 10 healthy players. There is more to the issue than simply finding a substitute. There aren't many point guards available, and the majority of seasoned veterans have already signed contracts elsewhere. Very, very awful. Aari McDonald was providing us with output. Since Sydney co-wires, Aari McDonald and Caitlin were all out for the season, she was doing everything she could to keep us informed. This is not good at all, folks, bro. Where shall we begin? Since Chloe Beebe has hardly played, Stephanie White's lack of faith in her is clear, since landing a deal for the remainder of the season. If the team has to bring in a ball handler, she is therefore the most probable candidate to be waived. Now that the trade deadline has passed, the difficulty is in finding a point guard capable of handling playoff-level pressure. According to Stephanie, White Sydney Colson appeared to have a knee injury, and Aari McDonald appeared to have a right foot issue. Aari is upset about our position then. When they return home, we'll get additional evaluation. Aari McDonald is therefore probably not going to play. The Indiana Fever may be signing another guy, essentially another hardship player, and I have to be the one to tell you that. The only practical route for the Fever to waiving someone who is already under contract is equivalent to contracting a guard, and performance, contracts, and loyalty all play a role in that choice. Despite her lackluster output, Bree Turner seems invincible because of what some mockingly refer to as diplomatic immunity within the company. Not even Grace Bergerer can be signed by us. Someone is going to wave at Chloe Bibby. A week ago, we signed her to a season-long deal. Someone is going to wave at her. As a result, even though Chloe Bibby was just signed, he could be cut for the remainder of the season. The fact that the front office locked in has angered fans. Contracts that fail to take injury risk into account. And the lack of vision is evident now that 2 point guards are out for the season. It is now hard to justify Caitlin Clark's absence. The season could end if this roster doesn't have a true floor general right away. Someone is going to wave at her. We must make room on the roster for a point guard. Therefore, someone needs to be waived. Our contract has a minimum amount. We can give out a bunch of 7 days or a minimum contract for the remainder of the season. However, we made a mistake by providing Chloe B a contract for the remainder of the season in exchange for Steph White not playing her. The softness of the team has also become a topic of conversation. Targeting the Fever both emotionally and physically is not difficult for opponents, knowing that few players will resist outside of Sophie Cunningham. Their record and the way teams play against them on the floor both reflect this lack of tenacity. Critics contend that in addition to replacing the absent point guards, Indiana's front staff has to add a player who can provide some toughness to the starting lineup. Even Caitlin Clark's return might not be sufficient to alter the culture in time for a postseason run without that. Whether the Fever limps into the postseason or not depends on the choices made in the upcoming week. Collapse completely. Sophie Cunningham is the only one who does it frequently. The team is soft, dude. It seems to me that people are taking advantage of the team's softness and the fact that they are so soft. On the court, they are soft. In the front office, they are docile. Simply put, they're soft. It won't be difficult for them to shit-talk teams. Because they know Sophie Cunningham is the only player who will challenge them, teams have little trouble trying to defeat this team. The Fever's backcourt depth isn't the only thing that suffers from the departure of Sydney Colson and Aari McDonald. It radically alters the way their adversaries will strategy their attacks. Competing defenders can provide continuous full-court pressure without a reliable ball handler, which can disrupt Indiana's offensive rhythm and force turnovers. Opposing teams can concentrate their efforts on a smaller rotation, wearing down the squad over the course of 4 quarters, because the coach is reluctant to trust particular bench players. Caitlin Clark's adjustment process will be more difficult, since, even if she makes a comeback, she will be joining an offense that has lost rhythm and cohesiveness. The outcome of these games could determine whether Indiana makes it into the playoffs or not. Fever lose Sydney Colson and Aari McDonald for the rest of the season. Our backup point guards are injured, and now our backups are also injured. This is utterly awful, 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 awful. Sydney Colson and Aari McDonald, both point guards for the Indiana Fever, will miss the rest of the 2025 campaign. The current 5-game winning streak for the Fever seems like a thing of the past now. They might have left the lottery because of that spike positioning, but has left them in a precarious middle ground and hasn't guaranteed them a comfortable postseason spot. The squad runs the risk of losing games and making Caitlin Clark's injury condition worse if she returns too soon and they continue to struggle. However, keeping her out could completely ruin their chances of making the playoffs. The truth is that the Fever find themselves in a circumstance that offers both great danger and high reward. Play it cautious and risk missing the playoffs completely, or push now and try to make it through the first round. It is what it is. As if writing off your season is actually getting closer to happening. Thank heavens they won 5 straight games because look, Indiana Fever makes the playoffs with 20 games, but I don't see how the Fever can finish the season with 500 if the Valks start like that and the Sparks are pushing 500. That's simply my perspective, because while it's possible that Caitlin will return, I believe that she will return the earliest when they play the linked 3 out of 5 games. Now that the trade deadline has passed, there are no simple answers. There are benefits and drawbacks to the names being suggested as potential reinforcements, such as Kennedy Carter. Carter has demonstrated her ability to score and defend, but it is risky to add her in the middle of the season to a squad that is already struggling with chemistry and injury concerns. Well, that's a few of people on the Carter bandwagon, bro. Stop playing if you don't sign Kennedy. She is a fantastic defender and an outstanding bucket. I didn't even consider her defensively, you know. We've lost 2 of our most valuable pieces for the season. Who knows what will happen next? This team is up against its toughest challenge of the year without Colson and McDonald. While still, Alive, the postseason dream is in jeopardy. The pressure is increasing. Caitlin Clark is now the center of attention. We've lost two of our most valuable pieces for the season. Hopefully, Colson will return to the court if she so chooses. And perhaps Larry will be all right. We're even less likely to succeed if Caitlin doesn't return. Updates on Sid Colson and Arie McDonald are provided by the Indiana Fever. Sydney Colson tore his left ACL. Whoa! Arie McDonald also has a broken right foot and bone. Will they both be out for the rest of the season? Someone needs to step up or else the season will pass. Will Caitlin be able to save the Fever before she returns?